This is the fifth video in this series of jumping from Portsmouth, Virginia, all the way down to Saint Augustine, Florida. This particular jump is a solo jump leaving from Charleston, South Carolina, 186 miles down, offshore, solo, into Jacksonville, going up the St. Johns River. Pretty ambitious jump. It's going to take me almost 33 hours to do. And of course, I left Charleston, South Carolina very early in the morning, about 4:30 in the morning, in order to make sure that I used the slack current. I wanted to be sure that I could get off the dock solo. And out to sea and raising the sails. Was a beautiful sunset. Great start to the trip. Absolutely great. Couldn't have asked for anything better. It was a downwind sail. I got the mainsail up, and after thinking about it for a while, I eventually decided to pull out the inner foresail so that I was sailing wing on wing. And I sailed every bit of 125 miles without starting the engine even once. Beautiful sunset, and you can see the sails there are set up for downwind. But early in the morning, the weather shifted. The wind was to clock around and to be off of my beam, but instead it clocked around and was right off of my nose. And so I needed to go out and get the pole down off of the inner foresail. This is about 3:30 in the morning. I'm experiencing probably 25 knots of wind. Managed to get the lifting line for the whisker pole tangled in the mast, which made for a little bit of fun. I had to edit out some language. And you can see where I'm clipped in. I don't know if you can see it real well, but I'm about ready to get back into the cockpit there and get everything pinned down. Early in the morning, probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, I was ready to head into the St. Johns River there at Jacksonville. I was fighting current, a good 2.5 knots of current pushing towards me, and I got up to the ICW there. By this time, the weather had changed significantly, and I needed to go inside the rest of the trip. The remainder of the trip down to St. Augustine, I went down the Intercoastal Waterway, Tormato River, down through, there's a nature preserve there. It was 31 miles down through there. Beautiful trip. I had current with me, so it went actually pretty quick. I got up early in the morning to leave and hoist the anchor. I had 2 knots of current going in my direction, and so I did really well. I was going probably 7.5, 8 knots speed over ground for the first part of the day, the first part of the trip. Like I said, this is a 31 nautical mile trip down the ICW. One of the things that I use when I'm offshore is an Iridium Go, which is a tracking device, and I also use a Garmin InReach, Garmin InReach Mini. That's what I'm turning on right now, the Garmin. Both of these devices provide tracking information, and that's how I'm able to keep track and let other people know exactly where I'm at. It's really good as a safety device. The trip down the ICW, for the first couple hours of the day, I had 2.5 knots going my direction, and then we went to slack current. And when I went to slack current, it was a little bit different in that, and then I went back to current that was with me. So I averaged almost 8 knots the whole way down. These are some of the views of where I'm at in St. Augustine, looking out over the harbor and the mooring field. You're looking at a sunrise there in St. Augustine. This is the mooring field, and looking down towards the Bridge of Lions. I'm in what is called the South Mooring Field. And Harvest Moon is going to sit here and relax for a few days before I head further south. We will see you in future videos. You take care, and thanks for my support crew.